Hi, and thank you for joining me today for day 4 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. I'll pop today's sketch in the top left-hand corner there for you, and it's by Jessica Michaels, my lovely friend Jessica. And she's created this 2-photo sketch with shards coming out of either side made from a circle. So I started off by using my We Are Memory Keepers circle template, circle cutter, and cutting a 6-inch circle. You've seen it there, and I cut those pieces into shards, and I was going to use this as a template because I'm still using all my scraps at the moment. But when I started to lay this out on my glass mat, the shards just weren't big enough. I wasn't really happy with the size, so I reassessed, you'll see in a minute, and I moved the circle cutter up. I think I did it at 7.5. I'm just looking for my circle cutter now. I'm pretty sure I cut it at 7.5 inches in the end, and I'm much happier with that size. So because I didn't have much of the cardstock left that I was using to cut my template from, I just did a semicircle, and I'm using the same templates for either half of the circle. So once again, cutting that into quarters, and they are different sizes. I didn't want them all to be the same size. And then I'm just going to lay it out again here, and I'm much happier with this. So I shall use those as templates to draw around onto my scraps to create the shards that I'm going to use on the actual layout. So as I say, I'm using my scraps still, so I pulled out colours that I thought would work nicely with these photos, and they're the papers that you can see there all fanned out. I chose 8 because there are 8 shards. The photos are of Amelia, my daughter, and Leanne's daughter Sophie when we were on a cruise in 2018, and we stopped in Lisbon, and they saw this cow poking out of the window of a shop and thought it was brilliant. So they gladly posed for photos. I do not know what Amelia was holding a face like that for. She looks very shocked at something. So I don't know whether her Uncle Rob or Dad had said something and that was what caused her to do that. But yeah, so they're the photos I'm documenting. So I printed them out on a 4x6 page using the Becky Higgins Project Life app. And so I added 2 to the 4x6 photo paper. So they're both 3x4 photos. So nearly there with the first half of these shards, and it's not usual for me to do shards with a curved edge. I tend to prefer a straight edge, but I wanted to stay more true to Jessica's sketch, so that's why I'm doing them as per the sketch. Although that said, as per usual, I do go off-piste a little bit, and I arrange them in my format rather than in a straight semicircle. So that's more or less how I'm going to have them at the top. I just play around a little bit to have some overlapping others, and then I'm going to do exactly the same for the bottom half. Now I won't make you watch me cutting all of these bottom pieces because I do exactly the same thing all over again using the remaining papers that I've got there, so that I've got all the colours in the page. And then I'm using this scrap of card to mat my photos with, just to give a slight white border so that they don't get lost in amongst the colours of the papers, because I've chosen papers that kind of match the colours in the photos. I didn't then want to get them lost in amongst those papers. So just add in the second photo here, and then once these are down I can stick everything together and start embellishing. I am going to add some mixed media in the background. Jessica is a huge fan of mixed media, and she's recently joined the Shimmers Paints design team, so I want to use my shimmers as an ode to Jessica on this layout. So just tacking these shards into place on the page, I was happy with the placement and I didn't want to lose that, so I'm just adding a little bit of wet glue to hold everything together, and then I'll flip it over and add some washi tape just to hold it more securely in place while I then draw around it and add the mixed media. So just checking. I was really happy with the placement of the top shards. The bottom ones I struggled with a little bit more, but I didn't fuss too much. I just thought once it's all done it'll look really nice, I'm sure. So just those last 2 to get stuck behind that photo. And then I can, as I say, tape it together, bring in my mixed media, and then start embellishing. So just moving that background out of the way while I tape everything down. And there we go, that's it. So I'm I'm just going to rough up all the edges. Again, I won't make you watch all of this. I just use my fingernails just to add a bit of texture to all those edges. And there it is. So using my T-square ruler just to check that the photos are straight, and then coming in with a pencil and just drawing behind the shapes. I don't want those pencil marks to show once I've finished, so I'm making sure that I angle my pencil so that it's behind the papers. So just lifting everything up and drawing around. And I don't need to do every single inch, but it's just to get an idea of where to do the mixed media. I just want to use the packaging technique, so I don't want to go too far inside the lines or too far outside the lines. Just want a little bit peeking out. So here's my packaging, and I pulled out 2 shimmers. The first one is sunflower. So just adding a bit of water. It's quite an old one now, and I didn't have a lot left, so it had dried up in the pot. But they're very easy to wake up again, just with a little spritz of water. So I'm just going to smush that all around the edges of the pencil lines that I've created. And this will just peek out from behind those rays, so you can see there. And then I've also pulled out another shimmers in precious metal. Again, it's dried out, so just adding a little bit of water just to loosen that up. And then I'm going to splatter this all around the edge. I'll leave it to one side for a little bit to dry a little, but then I will come in with some paper towel to mop up the excess. I love the packaging technique because it dries ever so quickly, because you're just adding a very thin layer. So it's brilliant when you want to just carry on with your layout without having to wait. But then I went in with splatters and ruined all that. So I've just, like I say, put it to one side while I do this bit, and then I'll mop it up. So this is another scrap that I've had. You've seen me using these bits before. I love the word sentiments on this, and I just found one that said hello, and I thought that would work really nicely underneath the picture of the girl saying hello to the cow. So again, just roughing up the edges. I've cut it nice and close to the word, and I just wanted to add something behind it just to make it pop a little bit. I didn't really want to go with black, so you'll see in a minute I pull for some craft cardstock, and that works really nicely. It just gives it a bit of definition without being too stark. So that's how it's going to look. And here's the craft cardstock. And I just cut a very, very small border around the edge of that, just using my scissors. And then I'll pop that up onto foam. And that works really nicely as a subtitle. I am going to add the title around the edges of the circle per the sketch. But this is just a nice little addition, really. Almost like an embellishment, I suppose, at the bottom. So once this is down, I'll bring that card back in and mop up the excess, and then I can start assembling everything. So this is just a piece of tissue. You can see I've used it before, kitchen towel, and I'm just using it to mop up those spots. And here's the layout back together again. So I'll just use my ATG gun to stick that all down, just using plenty of glue to keep it all in place. And then when I put it down, I feel like it needs some kind of definition. Now, looking at it on the video, it looks amazing on that black glass mat, and maybe I should have mounted it onto black cardstock. That would have looked really good. But in the end, I just grabbed my gel pen, and I'm very confident in the way I do this, and just add some doodled lines, just a couple of good doodled lines around it. I think if you hesitate, the lines can go quite wobbly, I suppose. If you're confident in the way that you do your lines, then it will work out. Well, that's what I told myself anyway, and it did. So that's the way I do it. So now those are down, I'm going to add my title. So I've pulled out these old Vicky Beauty and Thickers, and I'm just going to write out Making Friends at the top in gold, and then at the bottom in Lisbon in black. So I didn't have an E in the gold, which I didn't really work out before I started sticking these down, so I end up using a backwards 3. I don't mind doing that too much on layouts like this where they're fun. So you'll see there's the backwards 3, and it looks fine once it's all together. And then the same when I'm writing out Lisbon, I don't have an L, which is surprising. I don't know how I run out of L's, so I have to cut one of the arms off a T to make the L for Lisbon. But again, it's fine. You don't notice once it's down. So there we go. And you can see it looks absolutely fine. It's in keeping with the rest of the letters. It doesn't look odd, so I'm more than happy with that. And I will go round, after I finish this video, I do go round and glue all these down with some wet glue, because there's no way they're going to stay on. The adhesive is failing already on those. So now this is my box of ephemera. I've just got one box of leftover ephemera that I keep everything in, or pieces that I've cut apart myself. So I'm just going through this to see what I can add. So I've got a little pink ticket there that must have become separated from the tickets from the 49er market. And then that frame, the half frame, is cut from a cocoa vanilla paper. That half frame on the right hand side is from 49er market. And then I'm just having a look to see what else I can find. That cherished piece doesn't stay there. I do switch that out shortly. The piece that I've added at the top there is from Ellie's Studio, and it's years and years old. So it's really nice to be using that on there. And then I just love this wood grain piece that says Forever Friends. So I switched that cherished piece out for that. So I find this little butterfly that needs fussy cutting. This was in the packaging of 49er market, and I just thought that would work really nicely in the bottom right hand side. So I'm just going to pop that there. And then this piece is another Ellie Studio tag, and it says fact number 31. I just thought that was really cute. So I'm going to go around and glue everything down. I won't make you watch all of that. Just using my wet glue and holding it in place while I squirt a little bit behind. And that's it all glued down. And then this butterfly, just adding a foam pad to one of the wings so that it looks like it's in flight. So this is one of my tags that I just sit and punch every so often, a bunch of them, and I keep them in my drawer from craft cardstock using the EK Success tab punch. And I've got a little loop of ribbon there, and then one of the stamp dies from Hey Little Magpie. I'd cut some pieces up to show people how they worked, and that's one of them, again from some 49er market packaging, but it just works nicely as a little addition at the bottom there. So adding my date to that tab, and I've stapled it onto the photo because Jessica does enjoy using her tiny attacher, so I thought that would be another nod to her. So adding the date at the top there, and then just going through some pre-cut die cut pieces. This is from the Hey Little Magpie notebook die. So I'm just tearing the top off and adding it up there, and then I'll add that bottom piece to the bottom, not so that it continues the line, but just to bring those stripy lines into the bottom, just for balance really. And that will get glued down there. And then once that's done, I'm going to go through my old stickers. So all of this layout is made from scraps. There's nothing new on here, apart from the dies, I suppose, that I've used to cut that paper. But these are the stickers that I've got, and I've got lots of Maggie Holmes clear stickers here, which I'm really enjoying using at the moment over pattern paper to sort of zhuzh them up. So first of all, some of these hearts are just going to go, a gold one there, and then I add two more at the top because, again, for balance, with that butterfly at the bottom right, I wanted to add something at the top left here. I didn't want another butterfly, but that just sort of balances out what's there. And then I saw these lovely word strips that say Seeking Smiles and Sunshine, so I thought that looked really nice with the girls. And then this one says hi, which they're saying to the cow, so I thought that would work. And finally I found one that says Seek Sunshine, which I'll add onto that pink shard at the top, and that just sort of completes that for me. I felt like it was looking a bit empty and big on its own, so I needed something else. Now this is the last sticker that I add. It's a beautiful mustard colour, and it says what you water grows, and I thought that was perfect. So please do check the description box down below for everybody else who's joining in. Go and give Jessica a follow if you don't follow her already. Thank you so much for the fabulous sketch, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.